Thank you guys for joining us on our very first episode of our web series. Today we're going to be talking about getting through quarantine with your pets. This is a new endeavor for a lot of people, and we want to make sure that everybody is as successful through this new normal as they can be. My name is Crystal. I'm the owner of the Freckled Paw Dog Training. I've been training for about 8 years now. I have a dual bachelor's degree in biology and psychology from ODU. And before that, I worked in a vet clinic for about 11 years. You can find more information about me at my website, which is thefreckledpaw.com. And I also have a Facebook and a Instagram page with the same handles.
So I'm Diane. I started pet sitting about 6 years ago for another company, and then a few years in, I was given the chance to start my own company. I started learning more about behavior and training by working with the dogs in our care and realizing what a difference it can make in their lives and their people's lives. If you want to find out more about me or my company, you can go to our website, Barkside.com, and our Facebook and Instagram handles are Barkside Training. So this show, it's a new thing for us. We've never done anything like this before. We are planning on releasing episodes bi-weekly whenever possible. And we're going to be trying to cover all kinds of topics that dog people want to learn about. So if you have suggestions, please feel free to contact us at either of our Facebook, Instagram, or websites. We would love your recommendations. So we wanted to talk about this today because it's obviously hugely relevant for all of us right now. With the coronavirus going on, we are all living in a new type of normal, and we can't forget about the effect that it has on our pets as well. It can be really stressful for us. We're feeling overwhelmed, and our dogs definitely pick up on that, those feelings, and they are probably feeling off as well. Our schedules are not the same, which means our dog schedules are not the same. They are not sleeping nearly as much as they used to. They typically sleep all day when we're gone. They might need more attention from us, or they might actually need a break from us. All of these things are just things that are different from what their day would normally be. Other times we're at home and we're needing to do things like homeschool children or be on conference calls, and our dogs aren't used to us being home and not being able to give them attention. So you might be seeing some things that look like acting out, or you're thinking your dog is being a pain. I promise they're not doing it on purpose. They're just trying to adjust the same way that we are.
Our new normal is not really easy for us or for our dogs. Having a routine for your dogs is really key in helping them feel confident in their situations. So really make sure that you're spending some time creating that new normal routine for yourself and for your dogs. I know for myself and my own dogs, it's been really a challenge to figure out what their new routine is going to be so that I can get everything done that I'm doing, as well as making sure that I'm setting them up to be successful when we all do go back to what we perceive as normal and everyone's gone back to work. Some of the things that we've been doing is making sure that I'm setting my dogs up for success. So when I get on a virtual call with a client, or if I have to sit in front of my computer and get some things done, I'm making sure that my dogs, all of their needs are being met, and that I am preparing in advance for them to be successful. So make sure that I have my Kongs in the freezer ready to go before I get on a call, and not waiting for them to start barking at the person that I'm talking to. Making sure that they've gotten their outside time and that they're resting comfortably before I need to sit down and start working, instead of waiting for them to get underfoot and I start to get anxious and stressed out that they're acting out or maybe doing some of the things that they normally are doing that are a little bit more stressful for me because now I'm stuck at home with them all day. And if you do have to create a routine where you're having to rate your dogs a little bit more often, or kind of leave them in a bedroom so that you can get stuff done, remember that they're used to that. If you're gone all day, your dogs are used to you being gone all day. So creating that same routine so that your dogs kind of understand a little bit of normalcy will definitely help set everybody up for success.
Part of doing this and making sure that they're set up for success is, like Crystal said, getting them the exercise they need before you need to hop on that conference call or, teach your kid Common Core math, that kind of thing. So, the amount of exercise every dog needs is different. If you start seeing signs that you would consider behavior problems or extra barking at you for attention, nudging you, all of those attention-seeking behaviors, things like pacing or destroying things. Often dogs will destroy things because they are trying to get your attention. So those kinds of things might mean that either your dog isn't getting enough exercise or not enough sleep. So again, when we leave the house, like Crystal said, our dogs usually are used to being by themselves and are likely sleeping that whole time. An adult dog would typically need between 16 and 20 hours of sleep, and a puppy could need 20 plus hours of sleep. So with us being at home all the time, we're also putting a dent in how much sleep they're able to get. We are up and moving and waking them up, not intentionally, it's just we're going about our business and they can't do what they're used to doing. So as far as exercise, this is going to be dependent on where you are and what the rules are right now. Some people are on a full kind of lockdown and they're only allowed outside for 20 minutes a day. Other people here in Hampton Roads, we are still allowed to go to state parks and beaches. We would recommend you go off hours and obviously maintain a safe distance. Going off hours really helps that. And letting your dog sniff and play and run. Crystal and I are both huge fans of walks on long lines and letting them, get all that full range of movement and doing all the sniffing. One of the actual benefits of exercising right now during this time is that dogs who were reactive before now don't have to worry about people and other dogs coming into their space because we're all requiring that minimum of 6 feet of distance. So the distance can be really helpful. If you do have a reactive dog, they're not going to find so many things quite as challenging. They're getting that little extra space that they need.
So what to do outside? If you're in one of the places that's on total lockdown and you can't get out and walk your dog, or your state parks are closed and you don't have that as an option, then your option is to mentally wear out your dog. We do this through enrichment, which enrichment is a big buzzword these days. So what actually is enrichment? And we think of it as a psychological stimulation versus your physical stimulation, like getting out and using your dog's brain versus letting them run around and be physically active. Keep in mind that we always tell our clients that 15 minutes of training is the equivalent to a mile walk. So if you're normally out with your dog for 20 or 30 minutes, then just reevaluating what you can do and planning on 15 minutes of training is still going to get you the same result as that mile walk. So what kind of things can we do in those 15 minutes that will get us the same results? So things in my house are stuffed Kongs and filled marrow bones. Those are my go-to most of the time. I think at last count, I have like 10 Kongs in my house and they stay full all the time. They get refilled all at one time and go back in the freezer so that I have them ready to go whenever I need them. Other things that you can have lying around are like goat horns and bully sticks, your hooves, things that your dogs can chew on for a prolonged period of time. Chewing is really stress relieving for your dog, so it's a really great activity for them. We also do our slow feeder bowls and our lick mats. In my house, my slow feeder bowls are part of their breakfast and dinner routine. We get those every single day, no matter what. So while they're eating breakfast or dinner, they're also using your brain. So in their normal routine, I'm adding in part of that 15 minutes of training, of mental workout, to stuff that we are going to do all the time anyway. And now that we're stuck in the house together, getting all of these things into a routine are going to be really beneficial, even on the other side of all of this, helping your dog meet their needs. And when we're all back to work and ready to go out and do things again. Other things that we have lying around the house, we can do lick mats. You can make a lick mat out of your silicone pot holders. Just smear some peanut butter on that and stick it in the freezer. Licking is very calming. It's very soothing. It really promotes that like chill out, that restfulness that most of us are looking for while we're on a conference call or while we're trying to do homeschooling with kids. You can also get kind of creative, and you can put treats in the old carcasses of their stuffed toys, kind of rejuvenate those stuffed toys. Cardboard boxes, everybody's getting their groceries delivered and Amazon packages. So take all of those packaging material, throw some treats into them, put them all in together, and disperse those for your dogs and let them really snuffle through all of that and find all of those goodies in the cardboard boxes. Benefit is your cardboard ends up in the recycling bin in smaller pieces and more space in the recycling bin for you. Everybody's been hoarding their toilet paper, so once you get through all that toilet paper and you've got the toilet paper rolls left, that's another really great enrichment toy. Throw some treats in there and close up the ends, pinch the ends closed, or take those toilet paper rolls and stick them all into a cardboard box and throw some treats in there and let your dog really snuffle through all of that and find those treats. Guarantee that 15 minutes of working on those things and your dog is going to be wiped out. These are still things that you can plan for. You can kind of prepare them the night before or the morning before you go to work. Get the kids involved. The kids can definitely help you with this kind of stuff too. If you want more ideas, we did the whole month of February on the Facebook page was just enrichment ideas. So any kind of enrichment idea that you could possibly think of, you can find on my Facebook page. You just have to scroll back through.
And then we also did on our Barkside blog, if you're looking to buy toys, if you're not wanting to put in kind of the effort, a list of the toys that are worth your money and those that are not. And that's on our blog at callbarkside.com. Something important to remember as you're giving your dogs these enrichment things, which most of them have to do with food, are you giving them too many calories? So you definitely want to be using the calorie intake that they would be getting from their normal meal in a bowl and giving them a little bit less there while you're supplementing with the enrichment toys. So like Crystal said, in our house, we use slow feeder bowls for our kind of stationary meals. And I know if I'm doing enrichment that day, I will cut out a certain portion of their kibble to use, whether I'm giving them extra peanut butter that day or, calories in yogurt or extra kibble somewhere else. So just pay attention to that. None of us want to come out of, a month-long quarantine with a dog who is now being told by the vet they need to go on a diet. But it should be easy to do. It's just something to pay attention to. Another thing you want to look at is, are they getting their normal meal times? If you usually feed your dog right before work and now you're sleeping in later because you don't have all that time to travel, are you remembering to feed your dog in the morning, or is it happening a little bit closer to lunchtime? You do want to try to keep their normal eating times normal and keep up with that structure, because dogs, they function really well with structure and they like that. You also want to pay attention to how much food they are getting from people and kids eating at the table. You're having a lot more meals at home. And I personally drop things all the time and my dogs wait for it. So I know that they have been getting a few extra food scraps here and there. If it's becoming a problem, if you have kids who are constantly dropping things, maybe think about sectioning your dog off away from them while they're eating, so they're not getting access to some of that higher fat, higher calorie food that they really shouldn't be eating. You also want to pay attention if you're having your kids cook and that kind of thing, that you are not leaving out bags of chocolate chips or anything that could be really dangerous for them to have, because that will end you up at the vet.
And if one of those emergencies were to happen, make sure that you know what new protocols that your vet offices are now implementing because of the virus. I just had a message from a client this morning whose dog really struggles at the vet, and they had come up with a routine on how to be successful. But all of that has gone out the window because now they can't go into the office with their dog. And so we talked about things like, making the handoff to your vet staff very unemotional and very quick for your dog, so that they don't really realize that they're doing without you. Do you know what protocol that your vet office has for these kind of things if you do need to go in for an emergency or even for just a regular checkup? Have their hours changed? Are they taking emergencies at this time? All of those things are really good pieces of information for you to keep an eye on before you actually need the vet for something, and then you don't know what to do. Another thing to keep in mind is making sure that you have enough food and medications for your dogs for a couple of weeks. Many medications that we use for the dogs are also human medications. And if the medications are needed for human use, it will be more difficult for you to get them for your dog. So it's really important that during this time, you don't wait until you're at that last pill before you call into the vet and request a refill. It might take you a little bit longer to get through to the vet because they are doing a lot more of their transactions over the phone and a lot more information gathering over the phone, where it's safer for the vet staff and for you not being in that close contact with them. And really keeping an eye on that kind of stuff so that you are prepared if something does happen.
We also want to start to think about what would happen if, we, the adults in our house, become sick. It's obviously not something that's fun to think about, but you owe it to your pets to kind of make a game plan if something tragic were to happen. If you ended up in the hospital, and really this is a good plan to have anytime, but now it's just more pertinent. Make a plan for what would happen with your pets if the adults in your house are hospitalized. You want to have pre-written instructions for a caretaker. The instructions should include all kinds of information like how much food they get, what time they get it, do they take any extra supplements or medications. You want to have your vet's info as well as a backup emergency vet if there was something that was more urgent. It would also be really great if for that person, especially a time right now where there is this possibility is stronger than it normally would be, maybe think about portioning out some of your pet's food ahead of time. Also on your list include where you keep things like the cat carrier or dog carrier, leashes, harnesses, everything that they would need to get your dog, your cat, I have rabbits, to get everyone out the door, as well as the plan for, would the pets stay in your house and someone would come in to take care of them, or would they go and stay with someone else? You also need to obviously talk to the person you plan on having doing this ahead of time. You need them to agree to this. This isn't something you just be like, oh yeah, I'm in the hospital, I'll go take care of my pets. You need to give people a heads up. Make sure they have a way to get into your house. Are they going to get in through the garage door? Do they already have a spare key? Does your neighbor have a key? On our house, we have deadbolts that have a code. Do they have the security code to get into your house? As well as alarm information. That's another important one that sometimes people forget about. So you want them to have easy access to your house, to know what the game plan is, and to be able to find everything they would need in an emergency. So basically, you just want to make everything as easy for the person who's going to be caring for your pets as possible. If you can have their go bags stationed somewhere that your pets can't get to them all the time, and on your note, just make sure you direct the person to where those are, just to make everything easier when things are so uncertain. Thanks for sticking around for this episode. We know it wasn't really the most lighthearted episode, but it is a lot of important information that, is good for you and your pets at this time. If you have questions about anything we said or ideas for future episodes, or you just want to comment and tell us what we did wrong, that's fine too. You can find us both online. Crystal is at thefreckledpaw.com. That's her website. And on social media, she is also at the Freckled Paw, right, Crystal?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And my website is callbarkside.com. And on Facebook and Instagram, we are Barkside Training. So please feel free to reach out to us. And thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah. We'll see you guys soon. See ya.